The revolution's begun. The time to stand up has come. We are the rocking of the throne. We are the rocking of the throne.
Hello, my name is Tom Olchek. I'm a member of Citizens Against Plutocracy. Today I'll be talking with Rich Stevenson, who is running for Congress to represent Kentucky's 3rd District. Kentucky's 3rd Congressional District contains most of Jefferson County, and the city of Louisville is the county seat. Rich is a lifetime independent who supported Bernie Sanders in 2016. Hello, Rich. Glad to have you with us today.
Hello, Tom. Glad to be here.
Now, Rich, for people who don't know you yet, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, that could take about an hour. But I'm 76 years old. I'm an old guy, so I've been around for a while. I started getting involved in politics back in the late 80s, early 90s. And it helped to put Ross Perot on the ballot in 92 and 96, voted for him twice.
Ah.
And, we had his campaign manager was a fellow named Russell Verney, and both he and I had the idea of if you can't vote, you can't contribute, which means that the only money we go into any political campaign for candidates and/or for issues would be from people who can vote in the election. So it's an old idea. It goes all the way back to Russell Verney and myself in the Ross Perot campaign back in 1992. Back in it was part of that campaign actually, So and of course, our term limits on lobbyists are limits on when someone could go in to become a lobbyist from being a legislator or an executive or whatever, So a lot of things were going on there. But anyway, so I was involved in that campaign for Pro, and then later on I got involved with the National Law Party in 2000, actually, the Reform Party blew up in the year 2000 because there was a Republican. What was his name? We'll see. Oh, Gad. He's a Republican operative. Got involved in the 2000 political campaign. He wanted to become the presidential candidate instead of Perot or anybody else, and they treated the party. They took it over, which is one problem with having a third party. If you don't have money, people with money can come in and they can really control your party from the outside. So he did that, and then at that point I became a member of the National Law Party. And that year, in 2000, I got on the ballot for Congress as a National Law Party candidate, and then 2002, I got involved with the Green Party, got on the Central Committee, and I was on the Central Committee all the way up until 2012. And I was on the ballot as a Green Party candidate in Ohio 1 for Congress in 2010, 2012. 2013, I moved to Louisville. Okay, and so I couldn't really get on the ballot in 14 because of residency requirements and all this kind of thing.
Right.
But, so I tried to get on in 16 and 18. And by the way, I am not going to be on the ballot this time, but I did. I worked a lot on my web pages and campaigning and that kind of thing. There's a woman who's running for Congress District 6 down around Lexington, Kentucky, who's going to be on the ballot as an independent, which I'm very proud to support her. And
great. Who is it? Who is she?
Oh yeah, let me think here. Oh God. Oh man, my mind is not here as well as it was the other night. See,
that's okay.
Oh God,
that's what's good about video editing.
Yeah, really. Oh God, really? You can edit this out. Oh, good. Well, darn. Oh,
well, you're keeping busy. It sounds like you've been politically active for a long time, because you were talking about Perot. That was probably the first memory I had of any election was Perot. So
okay. And at that time Clinton got elected with 37% of the vote.
Mm-hmm.
a plurality, because pro took such a big chunk out of the vote, so. Right. And is Rika Weiland. Rika Weiland is her name.
Oh, okay.
RIKKA, and it's WALLIN.
Okay, great. Good. Somebody else we can support. That's fantastic. Okay.
Yeah, I would hope maybe. Well, I don't know whether she has not become a CFAR candidate, as far as I know. And
well, we're going to have to find out.
Right. Okay.
And Rich, speaking of that, I'd like to ask you about the Contract for American Renewal, or CFAR. So for our viewers, information on CFAR is at citizensagainstplutocracy.org.
Right.
Rich, you signed the Contract for American Renewal, or CFAR.
Right.
It's a commitment by the candidate to the people to sponsor and vote in favor of legislation on issues that the majority of Americans support. Why did you sign the Contract for American Renewal?
Well, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party do not support what the American people support. They support Wall Street. They support the Wall Street billionaires. They support big money interests. And CFAR points out 12 different points that the American people are in favor of by over 60 or 70%. And my idea is that candidates should represent the people, the 99%, 99.99%.
Yeah.
And that includes people who are millionaires, who are small business people, because that way we get support from both the left and the right, the center, the left and right. So we could have a better chance of having a wide tent to actually have people elected to office, So, but anyway, CFAR has all of the issues that I'm in favor of, and in fact, I was in favor of all 12, but they said we should limit them down to about 3 or 4. But the top ones on my list are equal political speech, and that comes down. It's an amendment which is what's the thing? It's a move to amend. That movement. You're familiar with that?
Yes.
It's what David. Okay, I'm not thinking of a name. I should be. What a guy's leader. It's supported. They're based out in California, but the first 2 sections of that amendment I took pretty much verbatim from what David wrote, and he's a Texas attorney. Yeah, but I added in a section 3, which got into this concept of you can't vote, you can't contribute. Only voters can contribute to campaigns, and that's if we change that, it would make all the biggest change we actually need. If we took money out of politics and made it so money came from voters, then we would be represented, and all the other things would fall in place. We would have Medicare for all. We would have a single payer system.
Right.
Because that way the people, if representatives are representing the people, that's what the people want, which is what CFAR is all about. It says what are people in favor of by a majority. So it's a matter of getting representation, and that's the reason I support CFAR, is because it speaks for the people and what the people want.
Well, 70% of Americans, all Americans, are in favor of Medicare for all.
Right.
That's part of one of the things on CFAR. And when you have issues that cut across parties and the majority of Americans support, and you fight for those issues, then you truly are representing the people. Speaking of CFAR, a little bit deeper into it, there are some high-priced policies on the CFAR. Are you a tax and spend liberal?
I'm a person who believes in solving problems. Well, it's just like Medicare for all. It's a situation where we would decrease overall medical expenses by 50% or a third at least, and we would have medical coverage for everyone in the country, 100% of the people,
and save $2 trillion over 10 years.
Right, and people would be healthier. We'd have a healthier population, which would mean we'd have a more productive population, which means that business would have more people they could hire who could do their work. Mm-hmm. So it'd be good for business. It'd be good for the people. It'd be good for everyone to have Medicare for all, to have single payer.
Yeah.
Just to have a healthier population,
Yeah. So which of these policy positions do you expect or do you speak to the most regarding CFAR?
My dead-on favorite is getting money out of politics.
That's a good one.
Because it solves a lot of other problems. When that's solved, it's going to solve a lot of other problems along with it.
So Rich, how would you deploy the contract for American renewal, or CFAR, mm-hmm. during debates, on your website, press releases? How would you do that?
Right now, it's mostly on my website, but I don't think I'm going to be doing many press releases since I'm not going to be on the ballot now.
Okay.
But and it's mentioned, it's on my Facebook account, and it's mentioned in my Twitter messages, and
okay,
all those things. Those three things basically are how I would do that. If I were doing speeches, I would be talking about CFAR in speeches or whatever. Of course, right. you have a 2-minute limit on most of the time you're out in a public place. You're given 2 minutes to speak or 3 minutes, so you got to pick and choose what you're going to say quite a bit, But CFAR is an important part of that. So.
And then they pull little sound bites out of that as well.
Yeah, if you're talking to the commercial media, right? Yeah.
All right.
You talk to them for half an hour and get about 30 seconds.
It's not really representative, is it?
I've had some pretty good media coverage up in Cincinnati, Ohio, when I was running for Congress up there.
Oh, okay.
I was probably on TV with nightly news with about a maybe 30-second and 1 minute or 2 minute segment on 4 or 5 occasions. Anyway, each year that I ran.
Yeah.
So that's good coverage,
The last question. So okay. The race for Congress in Kentucky's 3rd District has incumbent Democrat John Yarmuth running and Republican Vicki Glisson, former Secretary for Health and Family Services for Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Rich, what makes you a better candidate?
Really? Well, one of those is the neoliberal Democrat who supported Hillary Clinton, who was a superdelegate, who prevented Bernie Sanders from becoming the Democratic nominee.
Yeah.
And if nominee Bernie Sanders had run, he would have won the presidency. We would not have Donald Trump in office.
Right.
So there's one reason why John Yarmuth is not that great a candidate, because he's going to be doing the same thing when he gets in the next 2 years. He'll be supporting Wall Street and doing whatever. He talks a good game, but he's a Democrat.
Right.
The Republican, same thing. He's bought by billionaires. I mean, both those parties are, and I have no strings attached, like Jesse Ventura used to talk about. No strings.
Yeah.
I have no obligation to anybody but the voter.
Yeah.
And I'm free to represent the people of District 3, all of them.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, Rich, again, I really want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today and answering those questions. And we're going to post some links with this video of the things that you mentioned, your book as well, your website, and people can get more information from your website, including, I think there's some interesting information about a political activism group on your page as well. I can't remember the name of it, but I was on your webpage looking at it.
What's that?
It's a political activist group nationwide. I can't remember the name.
The Independent Voters Alliance.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
And that's in the Overdue Voter Revolution. Those pages are mentioned. There's links to all those pages on page 31 of that book.
It's a very interesting web page. So we're going to post a link for that so people can go check it out. And Rich, really, thank you so much. Keep up the good fight as you have been for a long time. Really appreciate it. The future is dependent upon people like you. So thank you very much.
It's actually dependent upon the people voting, because there are 66% of the people in this country do not vote, We
Right.
have won every election that comes up. All we have to do is register to vote and put candidates on the ballot who will represent us. And that is the real solution, is getting people to vote and having candidates on the ballot who are not Democrats or Republicans.
Right.
So we can elect people who represent us.
Well, you're right. And I think that's why those 66% don't vote, because there's no one that they want to vote for. So that's why we need more people like you out there so that they can vote for you.
I agree with you totally. I think it's not about me, it's about the American people.
Of course, yes. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You're absolutely right. And Rich, appreciate it. Have a good evening, and thanks for being here.
Okay, delightful talking to you, Tom.
Okay, bye-bye, Rich.
Bye-bye. See you later.
See ya.
Revolt Against Plutocracy won't just be covering the news about the necessary revolution in the United States. Sometimes we'll be making the news. If you want to stay on top of the revolutionary actions and strategies of grassroots, genuine progressives, and our allies, please subscribe to our YouTube channel today.